Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Elena Serpina. I'm the Fine Arts Grants Curator for Guilford County Schools. We're so excited just to explain to you and talk more about the Michael Parrish Endowment for Arts Education. Here we have our team members, including Arts Greensboro. And we wanted just to go ahead and give you just a brief overview about this endowment, how it came about that GCS Arts began helping manage this endowment. And we'll give you the opportunity to hear just a few words from the funder, Denise, herself. And we'll segue into speaking about what the endowment is looking to fund in particular. So thank you so much for tuning in to this recording. So a little overview as to how the endowment and GCS Arts came to merge together. Close to a year ago, last winter, I remember receiving a phone call. It was actually from Michael, one of our endowment team members. And he reached out and said, "We are so excited to find out that you exist." And I was so delighted to hear, "Yes, how can I help?" And lo and behold, the endowment was just really seeking to spread the word about this wonderful opportunity for GCS students. And it was just very serendipitous, the timing to allow GCS Arts to help manage this endowment. So we then met in person and were able to strategically plan in getting this endowment up and off the ground. And this is its first year. We're so excited and thrilled about it. The funds are housed in the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro, and a percentage each year is made liquid to GCS Arts to then fund awarded grantees. Just a little overview of the vision and the intent behind the endowment. The funds may be used to facilitate arts engagement and to enhance arts opportunities in all arts forms, music, theater, dance, visual art, afforded GCS K-12 students and the communities in which they serve. Ultimately, we want to give students the opportunity to share their voice and to encourage them that their project dream can become a reality. And if they don't currently have a vision for a project, that's okay. We want to encourage them to dream. And that's what I personally love so much about this endowment. The Michael Parrish Endowment for Arts Education is unique in that it is looking for student-initiated projects, whether they can collaborate with their teachers, or if they're a high schooler, they can go ahead and apply on their own, but they must be a GCS student. So again, as I mentioned, high school students can apply if they have a teacher letter. Elementary and middle school teachers can directly apply and collaborate with their students on this. For this grant year, we can fund 15 grants for up to $500 each. And we have extended the deadline to January 4th due to COVID-19. Despite the fact that we are in a pandemic, we truly believe the arts are really meant to shine that much more and to really reach our students. And it's really a great time for some to really experience this opportunity, and perhaps it'll just really make a difference in these students' lives at such a time as this. It is our hope that the endowment will inspire our students and even teachers and encourage them to dream big. This is an ideal learning opportunity for students, especially middle school and high school, to have real life experience in applying for a grant, and if awarded, how to execute a project proposal. It really is the ultimate teaching tool, and we're so thrilled. So moving on, I'm going to go ahead and just briefly tell you a little bit about each of our endowment team members, starting with Denise. Denise was born with a significant heart defect and not expected to live past age 2. Denise, however, defied medical predictions and thrived, leading a relatively normal life, and was highly involved in music, theater, and dance. She is, of course, a former GCS student. Denise received her undergraduate degree in speech pathology at UNCG in 1977 and proceeded to become an audiologist, practicing for over 35 years. Denise has been in leadership positions for many organizations, from directing high school plays in her teens to directing a youth choir for 30 years. Say hello, Denise, if you haven't already. That's Denise, our funder. Next, we have Michael. Michael received his undergraduate and graduate degrees in theater education and communication at UNCG. In 1973, he began his career as a drama teacher for Grimsley High School, where he had the pleasure of working with Denise in his directing debut, which I love that connection. Michael was appointed to the Advanced the Leadership team tasked with logistic and curriculum design to found the Weaver Academy in 1978, where he was the first chair of the Performing Arts Department. For the final act of his career, he returned to the classroom for 8 years at Page High School to reprise his first love, teaching and directing. Say hello, Michael.
Hello.
Next, we have our committee members, Michaeline. Michaeline majored in theater and English and spent 2 years teaching 8th grade while conducting drama classes for Birmingham Children's Theater. Life then brought her to UNCG, where she did her graduate work and majored in child drama. Michaeline has created a program for artistically gifted children for Greensboro City Schools and performed in many community theater productions. She's taught for 11 years for academically gifted students until the first Arts Elementary magnet opened at David Jones Elementary School, where she taught drama for 9 years. Michaeline took a 3-year break from the classroom and taught technology courses for Guilford County teachers and returned to the classroom for her last 14 years before retiring from GCS in 2015. Since retiring, she has been the lower school theater director for Greensboro Day School. Say hello, Michaeline. Excellent. Adam is the Director of Community Engagement for the College of Visual and Performing Arts at UNC Greensboro, where he supports and advocates for community engaged programs led by students and faculty and advances partnerships between the CVPA and the community. Carlin is also the Director of the Greensboro Project Space, an off-campus contemporary art center in downtown Greensboro that acts as a bridge between students and faculty in UNC Greensboro School of Art and the Greensboro community. Adam also teaches about art as social change and participatory practices in the CVPA's interdisciplinary art and social practice minor, in addition to a cross-disciplinary courses about arts entrepreneurship. He has a BFA from California College of the Arts and an MFA in Art and Social Practices from Portland State University. Say hello, Adam.
Hi.
Fantastic. And myself, I briefly mentioned I'm the Fine Arts Grants Curator for Guilford County Schools. I hold a Bachelor of Arts in Dance, Master's in Entrepreneurship. I'm very passionate about reaching our students here at GCS and using the arts as a platform for this. And it looks like we might have someone who tried to join, but that's all right. We'll go ahead and continue. All right, Denise, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. If you would like to say just a few words, just your heart about this endowment, your vision, your perspective, super informal. So take it away, Denise.
You said it all, girl. What am I supposed to add? I'm still alive, and I think it's really cool to set up an endowment before you die. It's really kind of neat that I am here physically to kick this off and to see how it flourishes. I don't know for how many years I'll be here, but I'm thrilled that this has happened, and I'm very thrilled that we found you, Maria Elena, because you have made it so that I feel like it's a rocket taking off rather than something just kind of not sure we want to keep it or not. But everybody wants to leave a little bit of a legacy in life. And theater was so important to me, and Michael Parrish instilled, I don't know, he was just the best teacher you could have in terms of theater. He really knew how to do things, he knew how to direct, he knew how to empower students, and it just you know, it matures you on a new level. And so I'm hoping that this endowment will help other students affirm themselves, help other students express themselves, and you know, just help the community in general appreciate the arts, because that's the most important thing. That's always the first thing cut in the budget, but the arts are the most important part of your brain.
That's right. And I remember Denise, just hearing your heart just about this endowment. Also, the community is a big part of that.
Oh yes,
Talk to
that's
us a little bit about that. You know, just
yeah. Endowments can be scholarships or whatever that you really don't see. But I wanted an involvement with
Sorry.
the community at some level, and to hook up with Adam and Michael and Michaeline, I'm like, this is incredible to see it happening. Is that you can bring the arts to less fortunate children and teens and that kind of thing, and again empowering them to present the art to underprivileged groups. So community involvement is very important to me.
that's excellent. And Denise lives in Austin, Texas. And it was a delight to meet you in person about a year ago
Yes,
in regards to this. I think it's so beautiful that you want to give back to GCS in that way.
I do. I really do.
Yeah. Great. Well, let's go ahead and segue into the types of projects that Endowment is looking to fund. And here we have on the call also Laura Way from Arts Greensboro. And we've recently partnered up with Arts Greensboro in regards to this endowment, just because we would love to use some of their mentors as, I guess, teaching artists rather, as mentors for grantees through this endowment. I think that's beautiful. But before we get started, Laura, did you have a few words you wanted to say? You don't have to. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but we're just so thankful that Arts Greensboro is willing to be a part of this in some capacity.
Well, I would love to talk to anyone who is thinking about applying, that when you apply for a grant and you lean into a project that can impact your community, you are doing the most important work as a creative individual. And Arts Greensboro applauds all the teachers and all the students who are thinking about applying or thinking about creative projects and how they can impact their community. It takes one person at a time to change the world around you. So please, please think about applying. Do a creative project that you are proud of, that speaks to your heart, and that your family and your friends and those around you will be inspired by. And then Arts Greensboro will be here to help you pair up with an artist who can help you talk it through and problem solve and give you feedback that you need in order to realize your dream in changing the world around you. So I really applaud all of you for the work you're going to do, because it's important. It is very important. You are doing a big job by applying for a grant to change the world.
Yes, thank you so much, Laura. We so appreciate you taking your time just to be present for the beginning of this call. So without further ado, let's go ahead, team, and get into the nitty-gritty of what types of projects the endowment is looking to fund. And we can start with Michael, if you want to start us off with that, part of our talk today.
Well, I think the most important thing is that there should, sorry, my thumb, don't take any examples as being limiting. The thing I want to stress the most is that you should always think about different ways of approaching this, endowment, because I think it's absolutely unlimited in terms of its scope. But I can give you a couple of examples from history of things that I've done. And one would be, again, all of my experience was high school. So please understand that. But we did shows that were, where we paired up with community organizations, such as Industries for the Blind, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundations. And what we did were plays that we then presented to the community and held workshops or panel discussions after the play that related to whatever the theme was. A couple of other examples I've seen in high school are dancers who've taken dance programs out into the community and again into underserved areas. One of the things at Weaver Center that first got me really piqued my interest where they were doing concerts in a staircase because of the incredible acoustics. And then a student was copying those on CD and sending the CDs out. The problem was he was bearing all the expense himself. And the idea of, from my perspective, is take, for creative people, creative students to have an opportunity to reach out to the community, to try something that's never been tried before, or even if it's just that they've never tried it before. But the idea is to do something that might impact the world. That was Denise's vision from the very beginning, was how can we change the world of the arts? So I don't think there is a limit. I just, I think you have to just use your creative imagination. And I also want to reemphasize that it's all art forms, can include literature and all the traditional art forms.
That's so true, Michael. And even in the midst of a pandemic, be creative. We want to encourage you. How can you adapt your project? We don't know how long COVID will last. So perhaps you adapt the community portion to a virtual setting, and the sky is the limit, as Michael was saying. And so we want you to apply. There's funds to be given away. We believe in you and your students. And so this is just a perfect opportunity to go for it. Any other words, team? Words of encouragement, words of advice? Perhaps we even can touch on what the endowment does not fund, if anyone would like to speak on that.
Michaelin's good at that. Putting you on the spot.
I think you're, there you go, there you go.
Myself, technology, what can I say? My career included time in high schools, middle schools, as well as at the university level, but the majority of my career has been with elementary students. And what I discovered in working with young students was how creative they are. Oftentimes, teachers are set in the curriculum that they have. And I found that frequently it was very difficult to sort of break out of that mindset of I've got to do it this way and I've got to do, and give the students an opportunity to come up with the suggestions for projects and ideas. And this does not have to be, in my eyes, especially at the elementary level, just an arts teacher. A classroom teacher could easily come up with an idea and then allow her students to expand upon it. One of the things Michael and I talked about earlier was, if you had, let's say you wanted to do a creative writing project or some such with your students, allowing them to come up with what's the topic going to be? What are we going to write about? So let's just say the kids choose bullying. That's a big deal with young kids right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to write about bullying. Well, what written form do we want to use? Do we want to use prose? Do we want to use poetry? If we're using poetry, are we going to use a variety, etc.? And from there, then we decide, okay, so we're going to put this together and we're going to create a book of our poetry, and then we're going to share that among other students, perhaps among other schools. Maybe we're going to illustrate it, incorporating other arts forms. So I think that it's important that that teachers open at the elementary levels, open up ideas. You may have to start out by brainstorming some ideas. But once you do that, those kids will come up with the initiative to get it going, to, maybe they'll need to work in groups instead of solo, which is perfectly appropriate at that age. And I think you'll be surprised at what the younger students can come up with. And when you tell them that you want this to be something that can be shared out into the greater community, that greater community can be the other classrooms in their school. That greater community could be other first grade classrooms in the system. or it could be something that's put on the school's website for the general community to see. And I think that it's important that they understand that the teachers and the students understand that. You don't have to sit back and then wait for a kid to come to you and say, oh, I want to do this. Because elementary kids don't often get that opportunity. They haven't been encouraged to do that. So you're encouraging them to think in a totally different way. Oh, I have some autonomy here. I have some choices here I can make. Yes. And I think you'll be very surprised at what they come up with.
That's so great. And would you also speak on examples of what the endowment is not looking for? I think if we kind of touch on that a little bit, it's helpful for teachers to hear as well.
Primarily, I think the endowment is not looking to fund equipment. Things that are funded, that can be funded by the school system or should be funded to your classroom through the school system in the first place. If it's unusual to do a project, say in literature, creative writing, that then becomes a book that you need printed. All of the preliminary stuff you're doing in the classroom anyway, but the school system doesn't often offer you the opportunity to have printing done on a mass scale. That's what the endowment would be available to help you with. But if I say, oh, I need a video recorder in my classroom because I want to videotape my kids doing a spoken word program and then share it, the school system should already be providing that for you. That's not the kind of equipment that we're talking about. Michael probably has more ideas, especially from the high school level, from some of the earlier requests that we got with the endowment.
Sure, that's so helpful. Michael, would you speak on just for secondary?
Sure. I think one of the things that we initially hit right off the bat was a question about transportation, paying for bus fees for people to come see a play, those kind of things, which we were absolutely not in favor of. Michael raised a good point. I just want to emphasize, for example, if you want to print a pamphlet of what your project is, Greensboro does provide a very low cost printing service, but there are costs involved and you have to pay the print department. So those are great examples. That's a good example of how you could use the money. We are, I think, generally disinclined for anything that's used for salaries. Really hesitant about guest artist fees. It's more about, because it really should be about putting things in the hands of the students. A thought that came up when Michael was talking, like if, let's say the kids took this project and they wanted to use their own art, but then they wanted to paint a mural, not a mural, well, maybe it's a mural, I'm sorry, but paint a wall in the school. And they need paint for that. Well, that's expensive. And that's something that the grant endowment would provide, is the art supplies. So there's a big difference between supplies and equipment, and supplies are good, equipment's not so good.
So regardless, teachers, whoever's going to tune into this recording at a later time, even if you have hesitation, just apply anyways, because we're so happy to provide feedback. We've already done that for an application that's come in. Don't let that hold you back. Really just give it a shot. Know that we're here to support you, myself and our team, and of course, Arts Greensboro as well. But yes, we want you to apply. We're excited to have you apply. Well, I guess we can end with some concluding thoughts. Any other members want to chip in and say anything? Any concluding words? I think we covered just about everything.
I'd love to hear from Adam about his magic that he's done with community arts.
Yes, Adam.
Yeah. Well, I just also want to say that I know Denise through her support of community engagement over at UNCG, and I've seen firsthand today and on a weekly basis the ways that her vision has come to fruition in our community. And when I heard that she was doing this for the Guilford County School District, for high school students, for elementary students, I was just so excited to, you know, I think now, especially for kids, for young people, like Micheline said, hope you pronounced her name right, that it's
Micheline, right? I think I got it this time.
Micheline.
You're not alone. You're not alone, Adam.
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, it's really important for you know, kids to be their voices to extend out into the community, for programs to have their, you know, their mark on it. I think this grant has everything I love in the world, right? It's interdisciplinary, you know, it's collaborative, it's community engaged, and also it really provides a lot of support. Like Maria Elena said, the team here is interested in supporting it through talking to you about your project. We could help guide the project, we could answer questions. And we have Arts Greensboro, who is also offering this sort of mentorship program through it, which is just unbelievable. So I think it's a great opportunity, and there's a lot of support for it. And I really hope y'all apply for it. And if you have any questions, you know, or concerns, you could always reach out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's something that I wanted to bring up too, is that, again, you know, I'm focused more on the elementary end, but for any of the teachers who may have questions or concerns, you know, that's what we as a committee are also here for. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you want to contact one of us, I'm certainly open to being contacted and to talking to teachers, or even students about the types of projects they may have in mind, and whether a project might be appropriate, or what kinds of changes might need to be made in order for a project to get approval. But our goal is not to tell you no. Our goal is not to discourage you. Our goal is not to say, oh, that sounds great, but that's not something that the endowment would fund. We would much rather say, wow, that's a great idea. Here are some ways you can adapt it so that we can guarantee you that you can be considered for funding.
I love that. I love that you said that. And Adam, you reminded me of something I wanted to quickly mention in this recording, was our logo contest. I love how we started off as a way to market and kickstart the endowment. Folks, if you didn't hear about our logo contest, we had submissions from students, graphic design submissions. It was so much fun going through those submissions. And we were looking for a logo that really embodied this endowment, the heart of the endowment, being student-led, being about the arts. And each participant received a fun prize. It was a nice gift card prize, and it was very generous. So that kind of stuff. You know, we want to empower our students. We believe in our students. Teachers, thank you for what you do to pour into your students, and just being that collaborative piece for them. So without further ado,
well, wait a minute.
Maria, yes, Michael,
can you
go for it.
explain though exactly what happened though? I think that's important to note. We referred to the collaboration, but we didn't really say what happened, and I think that's an important example.
Sure. So you mean for the winner collaborating with the teaching artist?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Michael, for filling in that gap for me. So the winner actually ended up receiving a few lessons. Adam was so kind to connect us with one of his teaching artists through UNCG, and I think it was like 3 lessons they had together. So it was a really nice time to work on really fine-tuning the logo, and it was a learning experience. So putting to practice what we believe the heart of the endowment's about. So yeah, thank you, Michael. Anything else I left out?
I just think Michael and Michaelyn are the best people to contact regarding details. And like Michaelyn said, we're not here to discourage you. We're here to help you, you know, adapt your project so that it will be accepted. And they just have so much experience at all levels of school, so much experience about what is appropriate and what is not in terms of funding, that they really can help any applicant that comes their way.
Perfect. And a way, yeah, go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say I'm piggybacking a lot right now. I'm piggybacking a lot on Michaelin.
You can piggyback.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Giddy up.
Just that, like, you know, if my career is working, you know, in an interdisciplinary way, you kind of realize that the arts are inherent in every discipline, right? Whether it's the sciences or the writing or physical education, you know, whatever. The arts are and creativity are a part of those things. So I think, you know, being empowered, if you're not in music, theater, art, and dance, you know, or you're a teacher not in those areas, you probably still have the arts and creativity in some sense in your discipline. So I think it's exciting to open that up and just empower people who aren't technically in the art department, you know, in your school, to still reach out to us, you know, to participate with the project.
That's right. And I think too, you know, extending the deadline to January, hopefully over the winter break, there'll be pockets of time to really think, process, dream, and just time to apply for this. But if you go to the GCS Arts website, just go ahead and go to gcs.com. and you can search for GCS Fine Arts. You'll see within that page is this endowment page. And my contact information is there. If you would like to get in contact with any of these endowment team members as well, feel free to just send me an email and I'll connect you with them. So team, I think it's been a great time together explaining this. We're excited, and let us know if you need anything.